welcome back to Tournament Centre with me, Rich Hagan, and 9-time Pro Tour top 8er Gabriel Nassif of France, and of course, Pro Tour champion from Kyoto 2009. Gab, thanks for joining us on the show. We're obviously talking about block constructed, and as you can see here on the table, it's blue with some green. So the first question is, what about the format ends you up at blue-green? How do you end up like that?
I started off playing blue-white a bunch because that's what I like. It was good, but when the new set came out, I guess I didn't test much, but I started building I tried to build something different. So it started up as a mono blue deck with like a bunch of level up guys, Chronologist, Looter, the Merfolk champion, and Teachers, Training Ground, and then like one step after another, it's like kind of just became dead. I like cut the beat down stuff, cut the Teachers, cut the Training Grounds, added like more counters, bit of card advantage, and then I don't remember how many I played of those at first, but eventually I added green, and it made Chronologist worse, and Looter was a bit slow to my taste anyway, so those eventually all got it. I like first cutted the Looter, then went out to two Chronologists, then as a kill condition kind of, and then I just replaced Chronologist with those guys because...
All right, so let's start with the blue side of things. We've got a suite of counter magic. We've got our 4 cancels up here, your vanilla counter spell at 3 mana, and at 1 mana, the spell pierces. Down here, counter target non-creature spell, unless its controller pays 2. How much of a hard counter do they turn out to be in the main?
Depends on the matchup, like... They're pretty amazing at winning the Jace fights, because like control mirrors are about that, and they're really good against the ramp green deck, because either you cast them early on their ramp stuff, or like you're usually able to keep them off a bit of mana with edges and spreading seas and stealing their walls or their oracles. So they're usually good enough to counter their first All of Dust or like a big Chalice. So, and against red decks, sometimes they're dead, but usually you manage to go like Seagate with a blue up, maybe Spell Pierce something.
Now I'd like to ask you about this card here, Seagate Oracle, because 1/3s for 3, they're the kind of card that sits in a new set and they come out, and most average players, they look at a card like that and they don't really see it as being particularly exciting. It's top heavy, the toughness is 3, the power's 1, it's not beating anything, and it doesn't look like a particularly powerful ability, but in fact here it is making constructed. Why is that a good card?
It's not especially amazing in this deck, but you just need it for a bunch of reasons. You need it to like against vampires, which I guess isn't very good in this format, but it's amazing. It blocks all their guys, and it like gives you something to sack to Edict. Like, so that's pretty good to like save their Oracle. Against red, it usually just end up chum blocking. Sometimes you get to block Goblin Guides and Bushwhacker, but so
it's kind of life gain in that sense.
Yeah, and against blue-white, it's like not great because they have their walls, so you can't even attack Jace with it usually. So, but it's just here to like fits the curve. It serves its purpose, saves you some damage.
Sure. Now, Jace the Mind Sculptor, I think we all know about this. The fabulous card, it just does everything it says on the tin and more. Cards that we're less used to seeing is this big suite of control magic for domestication. 2 Vapor Snare. How do you end up with so many? In fact, how do you end up with any at all? I think that's pretty unique.
Well, since I'm playing like mono blue and blue green, that's like the only removal you get. So I figured I'd try them, and it turned out they're like pretty amazing because like that's pretty much control magic. You have to be careful when you steal a GOP or a King Fiend. You can't like play 2 lands instant. So sometimes, or like if they get time to pump up their Dragon Lord, sometimes it's too slow, but it's pretty amazing. It even steals like Sphinx, the 3/5 Sphinx, which all the blue-whites deck run. It steals the green guy, the Oracle in the Mirror, which is like nuts if you get to do that, or a No-4 wall. And against red, Boros and Vampires is just like control magic pretty much.
We've already talked about the Seagate Oracle as a card that doesn't look exciting to the average player. Another card that isn't immediately apparent how good it is this down here, the green card, Oracle of Mul Daya. You can play an additional land on each of your turns, you play with the top card of your library revealed, and you can play the top card of your library if it's a land card. So explain why this is so key in the deck, why it's so good.
It's just really powerful with Jace. A lot of the time, you'll go like, play Jace, brainstorm, set it up. Your Jace might die, but whatever, fog, set it up, play that guy next turn, get at least 1 land, and then play another land. So it ramps you up to like mana for this guy, or like next turn play another Jace. And it works really well with Halimar Depth. It works decently well with fetch lands, and I'm playing 26 lands, so sometimes you just raw dog like a bunch of lands.
So you're constantly able to set up the top of your library to get the most benefit out of it.
Works decently with Seagate Oracle.
For sure. So there's all kinds of good synergies in the deck. Now the final card we want to talk about is right up the top here. You can have it in French if you want, or you can have it in English if you want. But either way, it is the Avenger of Zendikar. 5/5 for 7, the mythic rare, and the key point about this, a ton of plant tokens, and then you go on to win the game. It's your finisher, right?
Yep. So I had Chronologist as a finisher, which might seem weird, but it was decent because it was like early drop and like late game, but I needed something that was a bit, I felt it was like a bit under, not good enough. And I tried this guy, which a lot of RAM decks have. It's not like sick technology or anything, but it's just like amazing because like doesn't get edicted, obviously. It's really good against Red and Boros, like pretty much negates their summoning, because the problem is you couldn't really tap out because they have the summons combo with Bushwhacker, so that negates that. And usually if you play against other beatdown decks, vampires, they have some flyers, but pretty much, you know, they're not killing you. And against Eldrazi Green, if you tap out for that, and they get to tap out for their Eldrazi, you might still be in okay shape because
you have so many plants you can sacrifice them to annihilate.
And buys you a couple turns or bounce, and like it's a great finisher because it kills like almost instantly. You untap. Sometimes you get to like play it and play a land and play another land, and you have like, you know, 7 2-power guys. Sometimes you have Oracle into play, so you go, and it works well with Misty Rainforest, so you get to landfall twice, and so
basically,
it's just that, yeah, it's pretty amazing finisher.
What we're seeing here, listeners, is essentially synergy in action. Every card interacts around the deck. You have, let's have the plants that interact with Oracle of Mul Daya, that interact with Halimar Depths. You've got these control magics. You've got Jace, the Master Mind Sculptor there. And this is the Master Mind Sculptor, Mr. Gabriel Nassif, heading, who knows, towards double figures in the Pro Tour Top 8 stakes. Gabriel Nassif of France, Hall of Fame 2010, what do we think?
I guess so.
I guess so. He's so modest. Gabriel Nassif of France, he will be in the Hall of Fame in 2010. You have my word on it. Until we meet later in the day, I'm your host, Rich Hagan, for Gab Nassif, saying bye.